What is going on, my brothers from another mother? You join me on another fantastic video in this utopia society that I live in, lovely Essex, outside London. Oh, the truth is it's a big shithole, the truth be known. So in this video I'm going to be speaking with you about why I sold my BMW S1000RR, the third generation, over this, because I absolutely love the BMW S1000RR, but there's a place for everything. And the thing with that S1000RR, the first thing is it's obviously not as comfortable as, say, a Super Duke or a Singular or an Aprilia 209, a Speed Triple, etc. Naturally, because it's a sports bike and you're going to be sitting on your wrists somewhat. But for a sports bike, out of all of the sports bikes I've ever ridden, that BMW S1000RR was the most comfortable, and that's the reason that I actually bought it in the first instance, because it had things like cruise control on it, which made it really livable with, if that's a word. I could really live with the bike quite easily. It's easier to manage at low speeds, like doing this sort of stuff, but ultimately it's just not that comfortable when you just want to sort of chill out and relax. That's one reason. The second reason as well, for me personally, is when I actually bought that bike, I intended to do track days on it, and literally, I don't know how long it was actually, but I think with all of this COVID stuff that's going on, it seemed like such a ball ache to do track days, like in the sense that if you book something and COVID strikes and everything's in lockdown, you can't do your track day. And then track days, you know, they've put the prices up by like 30 quid to like 50 quid, so they're actually more expensive than what they were. And without sounding like an old woman, I was like, do you know what, I just can't be bothered with track days. Plus the fact that you spend all this money and then on a particular day it starts raining. I was just like, for me, I think the track days are toast, and I didn't actually decide that until I had the S1000RR, which seems quite strange. So one of the other reasons that I got rid of the S1000RR was basically because, like, for a road bike, it is the best one out of all of the superbike categories for the sense of comfortability and usability, but it's just not built for the road, and there isn't any need for it when you have things like this, when you have things like the Super Duke on the market. You sort of got to ask yourself the question, like, why am I on a BMW S1000RR? And again, that's another. I was in fear. Another reason that I sold it, the truth be known, I was in fear of losing my license. I was in fear of losing my license, the truth be known, because that bike is so quick. And like, but there isn't any sort of happy medium with a bike. You're either doing the sort of speeds like I'm doing now, which like 20 mile an hour on the lovely Southend seafront, and the S1000RR, you're like, oh, I want to get going. Thanks, mate. Thank you. It's like, oh, I want to get going. But then when you do get going on the S1000RR, the sweet spot is like where you're doing joust speeds in first and second gear, where you're having the most fun. And again, as I say, I was just in fear of my license. I needed something to be able to chill out on a lot, and with the S1000RR, like when I'm just relaxing, I don't want to go batshit crazy, and like at the moment I'm just chilling out. And I went out Sunday. I went out with the boys on Sunday gone, and we was just chilling out. We were just getting a bacon sandwich or whatever, and then I left them to it. I went to a place called Finchinfield, and there were old Bill everywhere. There were old Bill on bikes everywhere in Finchinfield, and subsequently I see them in the corner. Like I went out on my own, like the little B roads or whatever, and they were sitting, the old Bill with a little speed gun in the corner. And luckily, because I was on this, I was just doing, I think, 40 and a 40. I weren't feeling like Valentino Rossi, luckily, but the old Bill were out to get bikers being naughty, and rightly so, you know, because in some of these built up areas there are bikers doing ridiculous speeds in the 30s and the 40s, and I'm talking like, yeah, I'll let you use your imagination, but my point being is the S1000RR, if I was on the S1000RR and the old Bill were there with their little speed gun in the corner, I don't know, would I have got points and a fine if I was on that instead of this? I don't know. I think probably the answer to that is yes. I think I would have. And again, that's another reason that I sold the S1000RR. Another thing as well with the S1000RR that I find, say in comparison to this, like it sounds really weird, but like with the S1000RR, I was having fun in the twisties. Of course I was having fun in the twisties, but what I found myself doing is on the motorways I was doing really silly speeds when I had the opportunity, like, because it's so fun. It gets up to like 160, 170 mile an hour very quickly, very easily, and it goes actually faster than that. And this is obviously only stuff that I've heard. I haven't obviously experimented with this stuff myself, but like the S1000RR, you find yourself on the motorways doing really silly speeds, and in the twisties you're kind of like, you're asking yourself the question with the S1000RR, like, I want more in the twisties, like coming out of corners, as where with this I find myself sticking to the speed limit on the motorway because of the wind blast and just the way the bike is, which is ideal. And then on the twisties, like I'm using second gear or third gear, punching myself out of the corners on this, and it's really fun and it's really effortless compared to the S1000RR. I'll be in first gear to get that same drive out of the corner, and it's just not as fun. It's just not as fun, the S1000RR. It's much more planted as well. I mean, you know, when you're actually in corners, as you would expect, you know, you could go around a bend at like 100 mile an hour and it's just planted and it's just not going anywhere, and it's a great feeling. As well, on something like this, it can get a little bit out of shape, and this does buck and weave a little bit, but I like that because it's more of an experience and it actually makes you enjoy the bike. It's more fun. As where the BMW S1000RR is a very serious bike, and there's nothing wrong with that. I guess it's all very subjective and it's dependent on what it is anyone is looking for from an S1000RR, or a motorcycle should I say. And yeah, I guess another thing as well is, like, doing these sorts of speeds, the BMW S1000RR would get hot very quickly, and I could feel it on my legs and on my shins, as where with something like this, and this is a 1300cc twin compared to an inline 4, this is fine. I don't think I've ever felt any discomfort with regards to the heat. And again, this isn't like a comparison video, because there isn't any comparison between the two bikes, to be honest, because they're in two different categories. It's kind of like comparing apples to oranges, but I think the days for sports bikes, for me personally, I don't want to say they're over, because the next time you watch me, and knowing my kind of my attitude towards motorcycles, I'll probably end up on a 4th generation BMW S1000RR. So one thing I do want to say is, with the S1000RR, there's nothing bad at all about that bike, at all. There's nothing that I could go, do you know what, I don't like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. It is such a good bike, the S1000RR. It is amazing piece of German engineering. And some days I'm like, I really fancy having a little blast on it, and obviously I haven't got it at the moment, well, now. But like, if you are thinking about getting the S1000RR, like, don't batter an eyelid. You've got to experience that bike, and you know, like most things, as I keep saying, it's hugely subjective, like what it is that you want and like. You know, I just think the way motorcycles are going, like with the super nakeds, like this one for argument's sake, I just don't see the need to have a sports bike, personally, apart from when I'm out with all of the boys, because they've all got sports bikes, on like a Sunday, and we get on the motorway and they and I'm like getting, you know, blown in the face by this. But yeah, I don't know. So guys, it was only a quick video today. If you like this content, please consider to give me a little thumbs up. Really means a lot, gives me loads of encouragement to continue making videos like this. Also subscribe, hit the notification bell if you can, if you really love me, really means a lot. And if you've got any questions, if you're thinking of buying an S1000RR, maybe you've actually got one at the moment, let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I will see you on the next one.